Hello, I'm Audrey, and this is Andrew Jackson. And today I'm going to tell you why he should be booted off the $20 bill. First of all, a year after his term, the country fell into a Great Depression. Not the Great Depression, but a Great Depression. It was because of his policies. So he was basically the cause of it. Now, some might try to argue, but it was after his presidency. How does that matter? It was his policies that left the economy in such a explosive, disastrous state. If somebody caused that with their terrible policies, Andrew Jackson, why would we want him represented on money and our currencies? Just doesn't really seem to add up. Now, of course, I guess you could argue he didn't know his policies would turn to crap, which is fair enough. He still caused the depression though. But he wasn't a good person. He treated people like garbage. He would stop peaceful protests from his citizens, a literal First Amendment right. He would shoot and probably kill deserted soldiers, and he treated people crappy. He was considered you get what I'm trying to say.
You already cussed once on it. Why not do it again?
Shut up! That is besides my point. My point is he was not a good person and not compassionate to people. So why would we want someone like that representing the country? He could have very much helped being a kind person and a good person, and he didn't. He chose to be compassionless. Why would we want someone like that on money representing our country, being on our USD? Doesn't seem very fitting. Last and worst reason I have why he should be booted off is he signed the Indian Removal Act of 1830, which is where he took natives out of their homes and made them walk the Trail of Tears. He caused that, by the way, and pushed them aside. You also might argue that's not part of his presidency, or he got us more land, but the natives have been constantly pushed out of their homes for decades since we came to the United States. They've been mistreated so much, and he just removed them from some of the only homes that they could get left or have left, and he's just sent them away. And he technically killed many natives too, because they all died on the Trail of Tears. They got sick, they got diseased. It wasn't good. You could also argue this was a couple years after his presidency. He still signed the thing. Laws take a little while to get in and to get approved, but he still signed it. He wanted the natives gone. Also going with that, he isn't a compassionate person and he didn't really care about people. Why would we want someone like that on our USD representing us? Why would we want someone so terribly a part of history? Why would we want that to do with us? Why would we want to be associated with them? Now, another reason he should get booted off is because of his replacement, Harriet Tubman. She is a much better representative of this country, and she's a much better person. She freed slaves. She was a leader in the Underground Railroad. I did my research. She was a leader during the Civil War, and she was one of the first women to lead an armed raid in the United States. It was the Combahee Ferry Raid. I don't know if I said that right. It might be kind of butchered. Apologies. Again, somebody could argue none of that stuff happened during his presidency. He got the United States during land. He was a war hero, but, a few small actions, you can't erase your mistakes. He was still a crappy person. He killed people. Technically the war was over when he was a war hero, so he was just kind of a hero. He wasn't really in a war anymore. He kicked the natives out. They had to find new and crummier land, after being kicked out of their homes so many times. He doesn't seem like a very good person to represent us. So that is why I think he should be booted off, and we should put Harriet Tubman instead, because she's a much better representative of our country, and she actually did things that are worth commemorating. And Andrew Jackson, he just kind of gets washed out with the bad. Thank you.